Hey there, fight friends. We have a special treat today. We're joined by the man himself, Jake Craig, who is fighting Mirza Hopovac at Unified MMA 68 in Edmonton for the Unified MMA light heavyweight belt. Jake, how are you?
Well, I'm well. Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it. Been a fan for a long time, so it's cool to finally be on here.
Yeah, well, thanks. It's always kind of cool for me to hear stuff like that. Like, I know people look at my stuff, but it's, just to hear it out loud, it's kind of nice. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
So this is a pretty big fight for you, and it's funny how you really haven't been fighting all that long as a professional, right? It's only been a small handful of years. Would you mind just taking a second and talk about your exposure to combat sports and how you got involved in that in general, and then in particular mixed martial arts?
Well, I always kind of was like interested in jujitsu, but I never really had the goal to try it. And then I was working at the jail in Edmonton here, and I met a guy who was a professional fighter named Dave McMillan.
Mm-hmm.
Some people might remember him, but yeah,
His nickname was Shoulders, Dave Shoulders McMillan.
most jack guy I ever seen in my life. And then he's like, hey man, like why don't you just come out and try it? Like everyone will treat you good, like it's a pretty chill place and calm atmosphere. And so I was like, oh, you know what? I'm kind of sick and tired of running all the time because it was like right after COVID and none of the gyms were really open and I just was tired of lifting weights all the time. So I was like, I'll try it. And so I started and I really just fell in love with it and then started taking the classes at Little Sweatshop, which is basically now turned into Bulldozer MMA.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I just kept doing it, kept doing it, kept doing it. And then I did like a smoker tournament like a few months after I started training. Um, gotten a couple good scraps and the guys were like, well, why don't you try to do amateur? So I trained a little bit harder, trained a little bit more, and started going out to the pro team classes and did some amateur fights. Fought for Unified a bunch of times, and then fought for Absolute MMA, and turned professional. I think after a year or four fights, and then yeah, since then I just kind of been trying to fight, but it's hard sport to stay healthy in. So the
Mm-hmm.
lulls in my competition have been mostly injuries.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, and you were originally supposed to fight Mirza at Unified 66 in Toronto in January, weren't you?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I was originally
All right.
supposed to fight him at 64, and then I had some family issues, like someone really close to me was not doing so well.
Mm-hmm.
So I just needed to dedicate some time to, uh, I had to leave the province and not be able to train for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So thankfully, he was cool enough to not give me a hard time about it and push it back to the Edmonton card. I think we needed some big guys on the card anyways, and yeah, so it worked out anyways, I guess.
Yeah, you are both really big guys, big, strong, tough guys. And it's funny how the sport has evolved over the years. Where back in the day, it seemed like almost every fighter was on the bigger side. Maybe not Hoist Gracie, but usually the larger guys. In fact, there wasn't even such a thing as a lightweight title in the UFC for years and years until they brought in Jens Pulver and guys like that. So now it's sort of migrated more where it's lighter weight guys. They're fast, they're explosive, and so I think the fans, when they see like a true two big men go at it like you and Mers are going to go at it, they really appreciate fights like that.
Yeah, I think like obviously when everyone started watching, probably it was like Chuck Liddell, Tito Ortiz, Randy Couture, Brock Lesnar, Daniel Cormier. And when I started training, I was training with guys like Tanner, who was a heavyweight, KB, who was was a
He's a
185,
middle,
well, like a
yeah,
big guy, and Chris Larson, humongous guy, like Graham Park, like everyone is well over 200 pounds. So I kind of lucked out in the sense that I found like a really good place with really large training partners right away. I think like
mm-hmm.
when I go down to Ontario, sometimes I'll train at other gyms and there's a very, very limited amount of big guys, especially skilled big
Mm-hmm.
guys.
Yep.
So yeah, I feel like there is a migration to the lower weight classes, but I think that's because like some of the UFC guys said, like if you're 6'5", 285 pounds, like just go fight or just go play in the NFL or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So you've been fighting now, and I see that you also have some boxing fights under your belt. So is that typically what you migrate to more? Is the stand-up fighting? Do you enjoy that the most?
Honestly, I enjoy both. I really love grappling and I really love striking. I mean, I really always enjoyed watching boxing my whole life. And then I was lucky enough to meet a girl who is like a pretty high level amateur boxer. And she introduced me to John Mendoza, who has a gym called Alliance in Edmonton. And I've basically been training there since I returned from my Achilles injury. And
Hmm.
like just the atmosphere and him as a coach himself kind of like made me really fall in love with like the nuances of boxing and like the footwork of boxing. I still train kickboxing a little bit, like more with my other coach, Mike Newton, but I really enjoy the nuances of boxing and I can focus more on specific things boxing in terms of distance management and footwork and stuff.
Hmm.
Where I feel like that sometimes that's a little bit lost in Muay Thai and other kickboxing sports.
Yeah, yeah. You mentioned there's a few different places you train. Would you mind taking me through a typical training week for you? How many gyms do you go to? What is your focus, or do you have things set up a certain way?
So like you want to know like a mid camp training week?
Sure, just yeah, like a
Okay.
training camp, or just whatever you want to say.
Sure. Like so usually on Mondays I'll train I'll have a private with my head coach Mike Newton. And we'll work pretty much anything that he wants me to work that week, grappling, striking. He blends all of the things I do together in that session. So Monday, I'll usually go to Arashido East. They're nice enough to let us train there and have the space to ourselves during the day. And
Hmm.
then I'll go to Mabadi usually on Monday afternoon and do like a cardio session. And then in the evening, I'll go to Alliance from about 6 to 8 o'clock and box. Monday to Friday, Monday to Thursday, I'll box from 6 to 8 p.m. and spar on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And then Friday evening, I go to Bulldozer and I wrestle with Tanner and Evan and another guy named Parker. And we have like usually our head coach Roger is there and Jeff Montemero, Tanner's head coach, is there, and we get
Hmm.
some good hard rounds in. And then so Tuesday at Ludith MMA, Justin Sanderson is the head coach there,
Hmm.
and is he'll be in my corner of this fight for the first time, but he's my head grappling coach. So we'll grapple, usually do like 10 fives of hard grappling, and then Thursdays we'll do the same thing 10 hard fives of hard grappling. Wednesday, I'll have like another private with my coach, Mike, where we'll blend everything that we've been working on together. And in the afternoon, I'll do another hard cardio session. And then Saturday, I rest. And Sunday, I go to Tanner's and we usually will spar with like all the big guys that we can get in the city. We'll go out there and we'll spar like anywhere from 6 to 10 rounds. And then we'll do some jujitsu rounds after. So pretty busy.
Wow, I'd
Yeah.
say that's a pretty hectic week. It's probably going to be a challenge just trying to keep it all under management and remember where you have to go sometimes.
Yeah, thankfully I have a schedule, like what's it called, like a calendar that I just write everything down on, or I do,
Yeah,
especially when you get
yeah.
tired and you're low calories and stuff.
Oh yeah, no, I got it totally.
Yeah.
So Mirza Hopovac, I've seen him fight in person a handful of times. Big guy, strong guy. He's got good KO power. Talk about him as an opponent and what you're going to have to challenges you're going to have to overcome to get the victory here.
Well, I think obviously he's mega dangerous. He is big, he's strong, and he's got KO power. He's a pretty proficient Muay Thai fighter. He trains out of a really good gym in in Ottawa, 613.
Hmm.
They have a good lineage of high level Muay Thai kickboxers there. I think that he's going to be explosive. He's going to come forward and he's going to want to knock me out. And I'm just going to have to manage that the best I can and try and land probably before he lands.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
This is a question that I like asking fighters because it sort of gets me a read of their mindset. If you had a perfect fight against a perfect opponent set up at some point in the future, and all the marbles were on the line for this fight for you, would you rather win the fight impressively with a KO or a submission in the first 30 seconds of the fight, or get pushed and have a war through the whole fight and win the same way, either by submission or KO, impressively in the last 30 seconds of the fight?
Definitely the latter.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I just think you learn so much about yourself when you go into the cage and you spend a lot of time in there. Like I had a 3 round fight in Toronto versus a guy named Jimmy Heinel.
Mm-hmm.
Good opponent from the States. He's won quite a bit since we fought. He was 2-0 at the time. I was 2-0 at or sorry, I think he was 3-0. I was 2-0, and man, we went to war, and that completely changed every single thing I thought about fighting, and changed me on an entire different trajectory of what I want to train, how I want to train, what I need to train, the mindset it takes to go that far. And yeah, I think that if you want to grow as a human being and a martial artist, the second answer there is the right answer.
Yeah, I really like the way you phrase that because I sort of liken MMA analysis in the form of questions and answers, right? Like I've got questions about you, I've got questions about Mirza, and those questions can only be answered when you fight each other, right? Like
Yeah.
who's the better striker, who's the better grappler, who's got a better game plan, all these things, and you don't know the result until it happens. And yeah, I'm just really curious to see how this is going to go. I mean, I'm really excited for it. There's a lot of hype toward this fight. A lot of people were expecting it for a while, so I think a lot of people are going to be tuned in Edmonton at 68 and watch you guys go at it.
I think we were on a collision course for a long time, and the like obviously like I decided that I didn't want to be a heavyweight, so I
Mm-hmm.
went down to 205. I just think it's the right weight class for me, and it'll be. I don't know if he's ever fought at 205 or what, but he doesn't sit too big when he fights at heavyweight, so I'm sure he'll have no issues making the weight. And I think it's just going to be like it's going to be a really interesting, you know, fight in terms of the regional scene for Canada. I think Sonny was saying that there hasn't been two undefeated guys fight for a title in a long time, so it'll be
Mm.
pretty interesting, and it'll be an honor to be able to you know fight for the fans in front of the whole country. Hopefully, I know the Unified Plus app is great, and hopefully, like a lot of people subscribe to it. It's really cheap and it's good quality, and they're making like wicked promo videos and stuff. So
Yep.
it's pretty cool. I think that hopefully a lot of people are hyped up about it. I mean, a lot of people are messaging me pretty psyched about it. So it's just that little extra drive when you're training to just go as hard as you humanly can and prepare, to the last little detail.
Yeah, you mentioned Unified MMA owner Sonny Serene. He and I had a great conversation a few weeks back, an interview that I posted. And one of the segments of it, we talked a good 10 minutes. Well, he talked for a good 10 minutes about he really dislikes it when fighters essentially don't fight in the fight, right? He likes fighters that are going active, that are going for it, that are moving forward, or trying to make advances in the outcome of the fight. He really doesn't like it the fighters who are sort of lay and pray or sort of, you know, take a step back, or even fighters that don't want to fight the best opponents. So I think he's really excited for you two guys because both of you, if anyone has ever seen both of you fight, you're both aggressive in an intelligent way, though it's not too over aggressive, but you're like moving forward and you're trying to get that KO finish. So I mean, if you're going to make him happy, the fans are going to be happy, and that's ultimately going to make probably you a better fighter.
Yeah, like in terms of wanting to win fights, like I mean, if I'm down 3 rounds or 2 rounds in a 3 round fight or a 5 round fight, right? Like I'd rather lose doing every single thing possible to win than sit there and be content losing a decision and just going the distance. I think
Yeah,
anybody that knows me or has seen me fight knows that I'm willing to put myself in the fire if I need to, and really try and win in a way that people will remember, or that I can be proud of.
yeah. Let's take a second now and move away from you and Mirza and talk about Tanner Bozer. He's one of your training partners. He's just opened up his own Bulldozer MMA. And for fans who are listening who might not realize, Tanner Boser is a fighter out of Edmonton. He used to compete in the UFC. He was let go. However, he was just re signed to compete at UFC Fight Night in Winnipeg on April 18th. So just talk about what it's like having a guy like that with that much experience and that much exposure in your corner, and just the things he maybe can share with you about competing at a high level. Is he helpful that way?
Yeah, honestly, like I don't definitely wouldn't be where I am today if it wasn't for guidance from a guy like him, you know. Like there's been times, you know, where especially leading into the last fight, you know, I was fighting a UFC veteran, Jared Vandera, you know, and
Mm,
he had a significant amount of fights in the UFC, you know, and I was just an up and comer. I never really had fought anyone with more than 3 or 4 fights. So obviously it was intimidating, right? And Tanner, you know, called me a couple weeks before the fight and he was just like, yo, like I've been in the UFC, I've fought a lot of people, I've been around, man. He's like, you can do it and you're ready for it.
mm,
And he's like, you are capable of doing things that you might not even think you're capable of doing yet. And really having someone like that instill their confidence in me. And he's a like if you ever met him, he's like the least bullshit guy you'll ever meet in your life. Like he
mm,
wouldn't just pump your tires for no reason. He wouldn't just give you a pat on the back if you didn't deserve it. So, you know, spending time with him over the last couple of years and grinding alongside him and seeing what it took for him to get back to the UFC and go to Dubai and win a fight against one of their top contenders and then get re-signed by the UFC. It's just like extremely inspirational, and it makes me
mm.
believe that maybe one day I can do something along the same lines that he's doing.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I think you and I were originally supposed to chat yesterday, and something came up. I couldn't make it, which I apologize for again. But you mentioned in our chatting that you're a big fan of the sport. You like MMA. You like talking about MMA. What's your just overall impression of the state of MMA in Canada right now? Or if you want to focus on Edmonton or Alberta, that's fine too.
I mean, I'm an Ontario boy. That's where I was born. So lucky enough to live in Niagara. My parents live in Niagara Falls. So, you
Mm-hmm.
know, I train in Edmonton, which I think is one of the better spots in the country to train, especially if you're a big guy. And then when I go on vacation, I get to train on Niagara Top Team. And they've been nice enough to invite me out to some of their pro practices and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I get to spend time around guys like, you know, Aaron Jeffries, you know, Cody Chauvinik, you know, like I get to see guys like Mike Malott and, you know, watch the way that Matt Jelly holds pads for people and gets
Mm-hmm.
and see the way that Chris Prickett teaches wrestling and stuff. So, you know, and then like obviously seeing Jasmine, who also started at an older age, you know, make it as far as she has and probably contend for a title in the next 3 or 4 years. It's really cool to see like holy crap, like, you know, we're not just known for GSP anymore, you know. We got a
Yeah.
lot of really good fighters, and I mean the younger generation that I'm seeing in some of these gyms now, I'm just like, man, like there's a kid at Niagara Top Team, his name is Aiden.
Aiden Appel.
Yeah, he's like friggin' 17 years old, man. I go down there, I spar with him, and he just lights me up. I'm like, yo, like who's the professional here? Like this kid's a
don't
stud.
don't don't feel so bad. Aiden's actually 19 now, so you're okay.
Okay. But I'm just like, this guy is like, it's just the level of things happening is a lot higher. And I'm just like, I don't know if I'll ever catch up because I'm older now, but I seriously think that we're going to have some good competitors. And now you're starting to see it too. And like, you know, we got Eamon Zahabi's fighting at the White House, right?
Mhm,
Like, that's a humongous fight for Canada. Mike Malott fighting Gilbert Burns at, you know, UFC Winnipeg. We got Tanner back in the action now. We've got Jeremy Lynn Horth. She's fighting at
mhm,
UFC Winnipeg. We got Charles Jourdain. He's the co-main event. I mean,
mhm.
I'm not a massive fan of this guy, but Hunter Lee just won the title at 185 in Unified. Obviously,
Yeah.
he's a very, very, very talented athlete and an amazing wrestler. And I am sure that he is going to make it to the UFC one day.
Mhm.
So it's I think the future's bright for Canada.
Making it to the UFC, is that a goal you have for yourself at some point?
Well, when I started, I didn't think I would ever be able to. So, you know, I try not to think about it obviously too much. I just do the daily grind and just try and be there for my training partners and and train hard. And you know, I think if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. And if that's what God's plan is for me, then that's what God's plan is for me. All I can do is control my effort and
Hmm.
you know, and my discipline and the amount of preparedness I can have for each fight. And if things go my way, amazing. If I get my shot, amazing. If I don't, well, you know, I did a lot more than I thought I would ever do
Hmm.
already. So
How old are you right now, Jake?
I'm 34.
Okay. And how did you get the name nickname Bronson?
It's funny. Do you know a guy named Mike Scarcillo? He
I
used to
know the name. Yeah.
Yeah, he used to fight. He fought guys like Shane Campbell. He's out of shape bears. He fought quite a few times as on Unified, like in the 40s and the 30s. He's one of
Hmm.
the better guys to come out of Edmonton over the years, and he's still one of my training partners. And he looked at me one day. He's like, "Dude," he's like, "You look like that Bronson guy from the Tom Hardy movie." And he's like, "And you work at a jail." He's like, "You should make your nickname Bronson." And I'm like, well, I can't choose my own nickname, so what do you think? He's like, yeah, make it your nickname. So I was like, screw it, I'll make it my nickname. Might as well run with it, right? I got the
Yeah.
mustache, so I might as well just ride with it.
It was funny when I first became aware of you a couple of years ago. I wasn't quite, and without doing too much research, I thought your name was Bronson. I didn't get that Jake Craig was another thing that was like added on to Bronson.
Yeah, yeah, it's pretty. Just like it kind of just all came out in like weird, funny way, and I just kind of was like, I'll ride with it. I don't want to give myself my own nickname, so might as well just, you know,
can you
like
can you think of can you think of one notable Canadian fighter? I know I can, who gave himself his own nickname and everyone made fun of him for it.
uh, no, I
This
can't
is a
actually.
bit of a trivia question. It was Rory McDonald, used to be known as the Water Boy, and then he gave himself his own nickname of Aries, and then he gave himself his own nickname of the Red King. And I don't know if people actually made fun of him, but people were saying you can't pick your own nickname, and but I guess he did.
I like the Red King, obviously. After, like, I mean, Robbie Lawler versus Rory McDonald's obviously probably my favorite fight of all time. So,
Nuts.
you know what I mean? I mean, you can't chirp a guy that has done what he's done in this country and in that setting ever. So, good for him either way.
Yeah.
I think the name Red King suits him. I just think of his bloody nose and him
Yeah.
face to face with Robbie there. That was sick.
Yeah, and that's something like as a non-pro fighter, I will never experience that, but it's something you can experience is that when you face an opponent who really pushes you to your limits, I mean, you've got to almost like love that person a little bit because they're giving you a gift of knowing yourself. And so many people in this world don't know themselves, really. And so, I'm a little bit envious that way.
I think that if I didn't have that 3 round war in Toronto against Jimmy Heinl, I don't know if I would have been able to come back from the catastrophic Achilles injury that I had, honestly. I remember
Hmm.
sitting on the couch, you know, for months on end at my girlfriend's house and I couldn't even walk or whatever, right? And it was I felt pathetic, right? And he's
Yeah.
just shooting me texts one day out of the blue. He's just like, "Hey man, see you're injured, how you doing?" And we started talking and it just really invigorated me to just be like, I can do this. I got to come back, you know. I want to feel that feeling again, right?
Hmm.
And luckily I was able to heal quite well from it and I've had a couple of fights since then and I was able to, you know, win the title. So, you know,
Awesome.
props to him because I'll forever be thankful for the lessons that he taught me. Life,
Yeah.
life, you know.
Hmm. Okay, Jake, this has been a phenomenal conversation. I'm very happy with it. I'm wondering though, before we go, is there anything that you think we should have talked about that I didn't ask you?
Yeah. Can we talk about the other two title fights on the card?
Yeah, for sure. Actually, give me a second. I'm going to bring up the unified card and we're going to read it from top to bottom. So starting is you defending your title against Mirza for the light heavyweight championship. Followed is a lightweight championship between Nick Hrebic and James Nakashima, and followed by a 125 championship with Tony Rojas against Enrique Pacheco Para. So,
Yeah.
are there any of those that are you're eager to see?
I mean, Nick and Tony, we all train in the same gym together, right?
Mm.
So my coach Mike will be cornering all three guys back to back to back for title fights, which is pretty freaking cool. And Mike's like my hero, so I just want to give him a little shout out here. But I'm so excited to watch those guys be able to fight for titles too. Like, I mean, they were there for me every single round I've ever needed, you know, leading. Like Tony has been there since the day I walked in the gym, right?
Yeah.
He taught me a lot of jujitsu classes, and even though he's a little guy, like he has shared a lot of good knowledge with me. You know, went to his wedding and stuff, and you know, I'm so grateful to have met him, and I'm just really excited to watch both him and Nick, you know, do their thing. Like Tony is one of the most spectacularly talented martial artists I've ever seen. You know, up close in person. He's fast. He's got jiu-jitsu. He's got good hands. He can do it all, right? And you know,
Hmm.
watching him and you know his main training partner is Gabe, who's also fighting on the card. So it's really cool to watch those guys spar and be like, wow, you know, like we're all doing it, you know. So I'm
Hmm.
so excited to watch them fight, and I have a feeling that it could be a good night for all of us that night. And Nick is he jumped around a lot of gyms over the years, but I think he found his place with us, and he just needed someone to just no nonsense coach him. And we've been lucky enough to, you know, he's built a good relationship with my coach Mike, who pushes him in ways I don't think he's ever been pushed physically and mentally before, and he's on a big win streak, and I definitely anticipate him continuing his win streak on the 27th as well.
Yeah, I deal with a lot of people who are not necessarily MMA fans. You know, they might watch a UFC event here or there, but they don't really know the sport. And a common viewpoint a lot of them have is that fighting, it's a solo sport, that you do it by yourself, right? Because when they watch, they see you get in the cage. There's only three of you, and then there's the two opponents and the referee. But you know as well as I do that to be successful in fighting, it takes a whole community, man. It takes a whole bunch of you. You can't be there by yourself as an individual. You need people to boost you, to support you, to push you, to train with you. So I think it's great that you know, you want to make sure we shouted out those guys.
Yeah, they deserve it. You know, like I'm just been doing it for a short time. These guys have been doing it for their whole lives, so it's really exciting to watch someone be able to, you know, hopefully put their life's work to use and do something special. And I'm just happy to be able to be a part of it. Honestly, it's really humbling to watch people accomplish goals that they put their minds to and put the work in that not a lot of people are willing to put in and see their life progress on the outside as their career progresses towards, you know, the trajectory of up. And it's just really exciting. And I hope that you know, one day I'll be able to look back and reminisce with those guys when we're all retired and be like, "Yo, we did it, man! Like we pushed ourselves as hard as we could, and we got no regrets."
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Jake, any final words or anyone you'd like to thank before we go?
Yeah, I'd just like to thank my sponsor, Perfect Sports. You know, they give me a lot of supplements every month, and without them, I definitely wouldn't be in a financial place to train the way that I do.
Mm.
I would like to shout out Gumshoe Dental for giving me amazing mouth guards and Pressure Grappling. They're making all my clothes right now and all the merch for my fights. I'm definitely not capable of doing any of that myself. I have zero creative talent, so thank God for those guys. And yeah, they got like the Shopify and all that. So yeah, it's really great. And I just want to thank Alliance Gym, Ludus MMA, and I want to thank Bulldozer MMA for being able to have me train at all three spots and not make a big deal out of jumping gyms
Hmm.
and having any of that bullshit that comes along with cross training, you know, around.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate all those people.
Okay. Well, Jake, I'm going to be watching you and Mirza go at it in the cage in Edmonton, and I wish you the best of luck. I hope training goes well. Hope you don't get injured, and I hope you have a fantastic fight.
Thank you. I'm gonna put it all on the line for everyone that's watching. So if you're watching, hopefully you get your money's worth because I'm gonna do whatever I can to make it exciting for you.
There you go, fight friends. Edmonton's Jake Craig, who is fighting Mirza Hopovac in the main event of Unified MMA 68 in Edmonton.
Thank you.
Hey, Hey there, fight friends. We have a special treat right now. We are joined by TJ Laramie, one of my favorite Canadian fighters. I don't know if he knows that, but he knows it now. He is getting ready to fight Mehdi Zeidvand for the vacant Featherweight Championship at Samourai MMA this upcoming weekend at Samourai 18. TJ, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing awesome.
Good,
I'm
good.
so happy to speak with you. I've been following your career for a long time, well before you got to the UFC. You and your brother Tony, of course, who's sitting beside you. He just had a great win in Japan. You're doing great right now. You've had ups and downs, and I feel like right now you are on a really strong upwards momentum right now. This is potentially, in my opinion, a very huge fight for you. Just to give a little background for some of the watchers who are seeing this who might not know, you're extremely successful fighter in Canada. You made it to the UFC. You had mixed success there, and they released you. You at the time had a very what I thought was a mature attitude towards the whole thing. You said right out loud that you're young, you still have a lot to go, you have a lot of maturing to do. And I really appreciated hearing that at the time. And for what I've seen now is you're riding like it's what a 4 or 5 fight win streak
Boy,
against good opponents, and now a win here against Mehdi at Samourai could propel you back to the big stage, I think. And I'm wondering if that's sort of the way you're thinking too, or if I'm way out to lunch.
yeah, I mean, I definitely think it could happen. Even it could have happened prior to this. We were definitely in talks with other promotions and stuff. But this fight definitely I think would seal the deal. I think the biggest thing the UFC looks for now is kind of how your performances are going. So for me, my last two fights were a little bit, I'd say, on the boring side to the
Mm-hmm.
viewer anyway. Despite coming out with zero damage and being completely dominant, that's just not what they're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with the angle the UFC is taking now. I think so. I think that plays the biggest factor in me not being there again just now.
Yeah,
But yeah, if not this fight, the next or the next or the next, it doesn't matter to me. I just take it one fight at a time right now.
sure. You're still super young now too. How old are you right now?
28. Yeah.
20, and that's you've still like Jasmine Jasdavicius didn't even start training until she was 20 to 29. So, you're sitting pretty. I think you're doing okay.
Yeah, I think experience prevails over everything else, and just all the experience I've been able to acquire in the cage and throughout my career has paid off more than more than anything else.
Another thing you do that I like a lot is you keep yourself competitive outside of the cage too. Like you enter grappling competitions. I know you won the Greater Niagara Championship. You won a cool samurai sword, and that's kind of sweet. How
Yeah.
important is it to you to just keep busy and just always be advancing your martial skill set?
Honestly, I feel like it keeps me in the gym. It keeps me motivated for other things. When I first started fighting pro, I kind of went away from all that, and it just you know I just I was so zoned in on just MMA, just MMA.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not really the reason why I got into the sport in general. Like I got into the sport because I wanted to compete and be the best martial artist I could be. You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
I really do feel like these other avenues of competition really expand my ability to do those things.
Mm-hmm. Do you I'm sure you've been told this before, but do you and Tony think that you have a natural fighting ability? I know you put in a lot of time and effort to training, so you're really skilled and you're making yourself skilled. But even without that training, do you think you'd still have an affinity for fighting?
Yeah, I think just upbringing and stuff like that. You're either kind of born into like a tougher life or just the way you know you're raised. I'd say uh, makes a big difference. That's the
Mm-hmm.
biggest difference. I wouldn't say like a natural fighter by any means, but it's luckily we got into it young. But I definitely always felt like you know I definitely had a little bit of a chip on my shoulder. I would say.
For sure. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. No.
A long time ago, this is when you were probably teenagers or maybe early 20s, I don't remember. Somebody told me something about you and your brother. They gave me a little bit of intel, and they asked me not to share it, not tell anybody because they didn't want to insult anybody. But they told me that the two of you were down training at Duke Rufus's down in wherever in the States it is, Minneapolis or Milwaukee, or starts with an M, I think.
Yeah.
And
Milwaukee.
yeah, Milwaukee, and they told me that you guys were lighting up everybody there. That you were just like the cream of the crop when you showed up there. That you guys were just really not even holding your own. You were excelling down there. So I think it's been known for a long time that you guys are really skilled, and that's kind of cool to know that people outside of your local area and outside of Canada recognize your skills?
Yeah, it was definitely one of my earliest experiences training with like higher level guys. Um, I would say my very first experiences would be like training with guys like, the adrenaline crew, stuff like that
Mm-hmm.
would be my first experience really training with the elite guys. And then Duke Rufus's place shortly after that. And yeah, just it kind of, it's a little bit eye opening when you're that young kid to kind of go to a place like this and be able to do well. At the end of the
Yeah.
day, training room's the training room, and everything falls a little bit different when you're under the lights. So I don't take all of it to heart, especially now that I'm a little bit older and stuff. I really do see, like, again, the training room's the training room. There's plenty of guys that are fantastic in the training room that can't.
There for a sec.
Yeah, sorry.
That's okay.
Can you hear me
Yeah,
now?
I got the rest of it.
Sorry, there's a call coming through.
No worries at all. You just talked about the training room. Talk to me, just for people watching who don't know, talk to me about MTC Windsor and what the training environment's like there.
MTC is great. There's a big, young. What the hell?
Popular guy.
No, it's for some reason my phone's overheating. I don't know why. Can you hear me
Yeah,
now?
I can. So just
Good. Okay, sorry about
start
that.
over about MTC.
Yeah, so MTC, there's a good group of younger kids coming up now, amateur. Um, when my brother and I first went to MTC, it was kind of just me and him coming up with all the pros at the time, like Kyle Preplik back then, all these guys. And for a while there wasn't really a young group of people coming up. Now there is, and they're able to push us. They're not really scared to throw down with us either, which is the most beneficial part.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm also doing majority of my camp honestly is out of Aegis MMA right
Mm-hmm.
now.
So do you actually go to Oakville to train at Aegis? Do you stay there for how long?
So I actually live in Oakville now.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I live in Oakville now. My girlfriend's up this way, so I just moved here and kind of relocated here, and then I go back to MTC here and there to train still.
Yeah. So Aegis MMA, of course, that's Lyndon Whitlock, Lucas Chaston, and Paul Jalbert are the main coaches there. Talk about your experience training there at Aegis.
Yeah, so I've been I enjoyed it a lot. There's definitely a lot of other bodies there. They come through from all over the GTA. I've been working with Lucas Chaston quite a bit for this training camp, and it's been great. Different eyes on you, different opinion. I've always been a guy who's kind of trained everywhere, and I like the input. I like to kind of take things from everybody and see what I can do with it. I've always had a little bit of an eye for the sport. I've always had a little bit a good mind for the sport, so I genuinely think being able to get other people's opinions, take what I want, maybe not take what I don't want, and then make my own little mix of everything.
Yeah, I'd like to chat with you more about your eye for the sport and delve into things and like the state of mixed martial arts in Canada, but I think we'll skip that for this conversation. If you don't mind, maybe we can move on now to your samurai fight in 2 weekends.
Yeah.
Mehdi Zeidvand is a former Iranian fight. Well, he's a fighter originally from Iran. He's got quite a large wrestling pedigree in Iran. Did very well for himself. He's done very well as a mixed martial artist as well. He's got a well-rounded skill set. He's not just a wrestler. He's got good hands too. So when you were first brought up the possibility of having him as an opponent, what were your thoughts when that came through?
I think it's a very good matchup for myself. I don't really see any area of the game when it comes to MMA where he can compete with me personally. Despite his high wrestling pedigree, I don't really think that we see that too often in his fights. I think he's actually a better boxer than he is a grappler, in my opinion. I think he's got a quick first step, but I also, I just don't think he's got the skills and the tools to beat me personally. He's definitely, for somebody that's competed his whole life, I know he's a extreme competitor in the sense where it's like he comes to win every time. A guy who's competed since he was a kid, and done well. He expects to win. He shows up to win. So I expect that attitude out of him and that kind of performance. But it's also pretty clear he's never fought anybody even remotely close to my level of fighting.
Something you said is really interesting about being able to sort of make yourself fight the fight that will win the fight. and not just
Mhm.
fight what you like doing the most. Like, for example, I don't know if I expressed that very clearly, but for example, you fought Joash Walkins and you beat him pretty handily, I would say. I was there in attendance when he had his fight with Adam Asenza, and Adam mostly does kickboxing when he fights, right? Yeah, he can grapple, but it's not often that he goes to the mat. And Joash had the better of him in the feet, and so you just didn't let that happen. Like you took charge of that fight right from the get go, and so to me, that's an indicator of good fight IQ, where you take away the strengths of your opponent. It doesn't matter what you might want to do.
Yeah, 100%. And also too, like I think I'm so well rounded that I have the ability to take fights in different areas and really expose it. And at the end of the day too, it's not a one style fight. So regardless if somebody may be a better striker, maybe a better grappler, when you combine the two, your striking doesn't look so good anymore. Your wrestling doesn't
Mm-hmm.
look so good anymore. You know? So the thing with the Joe Ash fight is I knew he was really bad at fighting off his back foot, couldn't really do too much damage. So even on the feet, I outlanded him,
Mm-hmm.
you know? So because I was able to put that wrestling threat there and I was able to put that pressure on him.
For sure. This fight with Mehdi, it's might be a good matchup for you, but from my perspective as a fight fan, I don't like it only because I like you personally and I like Mehdi personally. I've met you both. You're both super sweet guys. On an individual level, I like you, and I understand it's a fight. Like you guys are going in there, it's a job, it's your career, but one of you guys is going to walk out of there happy with your hand raised, and the other guy is going to be pretty devastated. So, I don't want it to be either of you, but I guess it is what it is.
Yeah, I've met him, I've trained with him prior. Uh, and seems like a great guy. But I don't take anything in this sport personally at all.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it's just I think of it. It's like a game. I just got to win the game. That's it.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't. Nothing's personal. I don't look at him like he's not my enemy. It's
Mm-hmm.
just an obstacle. It's a blank face to me.
Yeah, for sure. Almost like the faceless man from Game of Thrones. It's just a face.
Yes. Yes.
So let's fast forward to 2 weekends from now. It's Samurai MMA 18. It's the end of the night. We've had 10 or 11 fights before that, and finally your walkout music comes on, and you walk out to the cage, and it's just you and Mehdi and the referee. The doors slam shut in the cage. You're locked in there. Anywhere from 20 seconds to 15, 25 minutes later, you're going to have a result to that. Tell me what a perfect fight for TJ Laramie would look like.
Perfect fight would be minimal damage, coming out with my hand raised. Preferably a finish, but to me it doesn't matter.
For sure. And then once you're Samurai MMA champion, what's going on? What's next from there?
Go back to work, like actual work.
Yeah, that's all you can do.
And go make some money. And that's it, because this sport don't pay. So
No, I've never made a penny. Like the only money I see for covering all these events is what I spend going out the wallet. So it's
yeah.
Okay, man.
Yeah.
Last question. If there's anything that I didn't ask you that you think I should have asked you, what would that be?
Nothing. I think you pretty much covered everything.
Okay, awesome. Well, TJ, once again, it's the week before fight week, and so I know you probably have a lot going on. You're busy, and so I truly appreciate you offering your time, and thanks for rescheduling with me. I appreciate it. Best of luck next weekend, and I hope you and Mehdi have a fantastic fight, and you both walk out of there accomplishing what you want to accomplish and what you take out of it. Only one person's going to win, and best of luck to both of you.
Thank you.
Thanks, TJ. Take care. There you go, fight friends. TJ Laramie fighting Mehdi Zeidvand in the main event for the Bantamweight Championship of Samurai MMA next weekend. Hey there, fight friends. We're joined today by one of our favorite guests, Fred Dupras, on his sophomore appearance here on the MMA show. He's fighting in the PFL next weekend against Ethan Goss. Fred, thank you for joining us.
Good, and you, Andy?
I'm really good, thanks. Fantastic. You're one of those guys. I've only met you 2 or maybe 3 times, and this is our second interview. But it seems like you always have a positive attitude, and you're always smiling, and you're always in a good place. Is that reality? Is that what you're really like?
I try, but I look like more a crazy guy normally. But in my life, I'm a very nice guy. It's only
Why
in
do you think you're
training.
a little bit of
Out of training, I'm more a social guy.
Yeah, with training, you get a lot of your energy out, and you just are able to just relax a little bit more. I think, and that's common to a lot of people. That's why we do it.
Yeah.
So, what's been up with you the past little while since we chatted?
And it's crazy because it was like a very up and down. Because I was supposed to fight in PFL Europe in December, and
Mhm.
my fight got canceled like 3 days before, and was crazy. It was a super shit show, and I got canceled like I think 20 minutes before. Just I was leaving my house to the airport, and
Wow.
it was the crazy day, very crazy, crazy. Like I was supposed to go there, and at the end, when I go to the airport, when they cancel everything, they cancel my ticket and didn't work, and crazy shit show. So at the end of it, never went to Europe.
That's got to be really distressing. I mean, first of all, you went through a whole fight camp, and you know what going through a fight camp's like. First of all, it costs a lot of money because you're not working right then, or you're taking a lot of time away to be in the gym. You maybe, I don't know about you, but some fighters pay for training partners, you pay for your coaches, you pay for supplements, you pay for food. You've got to get lots of sleep, so you can't be working during the time you're sleeping, and that's just the time and the money commitment from you, but also the psychological commitment. You're getting yourself prepared
Yeah,
to fight like another person, and you might get hurt, and so that, you go through a lot getting up to that point.
yeah,
Does the PFL, I know different organizations treat the fighters differently when things like this happen. Did the PFL pay you any show money or give you
yeah.
any
They give
compensation
me
for
my
that?
at least my show money, but I was when it's happening, it's crazy because it's my opponent that picks me. I was like, "What you?"
Really?
Yeah, it was super crazy. Like Andy, when I said to you, it was a shit show. It was a shit show, and I just get out of the shower and I just see his name on my Instagram, and I say mettons, this guy try to message you, and I was like, oh man, it's starting. I know, like it's not my first video. I know when the shit show is starting. I know when it's starting, and I knew right away. I was like, oh my god, it's starting. But
What did the message say to you?
they would just say like he's not gonna be able to fight and he's injured, but they hope that they gonna find me someone. I'm like, did they notice?
Mm.
Come on, man.
Well, to be fair, that's kind of cool that he thought of you and messaged you right away.
Yeah, but in this kind of game, it don't really change nothing. Like at three, why you didn't tell? Like we all injure, we all go. We all like
Hmm.
if at 3 day you get more injury, we have a problem.
Yeah.
You should not put out 3 day before a fight. This is you should be professional. You should be more. Don't how I can say like minutious. Like you have to be careful. You have to go.
Sure. Yep.
It's it's our life. We get paid for this, so you have
Hmm.
a risk. If you're a real professional, you have to be careful. I know maybe it's not his fault. I understand that, but 3 day notice is kind of it's not.
Hmm. I've seen it happen a lot to a lot of fighters, and I always feel bad. But to me, it seems like it's especially egregious. It's especially bad at a level that you're competing, because the PFL, UFC, and prior to that, Bellator, those are like top tier organizations where you are an absolute professional. This is your livelihood. This is what you do. And the most important thing you're losing out of all of is you're losing time, because
Yeah,
a fighter's career only lasts so long. You're
yeah.
using your body, and anytime you're taking time off to get ready for a fight and you've got to restart the whole thing without getting a fight, man, that's terrible.
Yeah, man, it's more. I have to give them seriously big credibility because, like, for me, it was a very shit show. I was not there. Like, I emotionally, I was not there. Like, I was very mad and a lot of emotion. But they felt right away. Yeah, they tell me like I'm gonna have my show money at least, and they
Mhm.
already almost booked me on the next card right away and give me a name
Mhm.
and everything. So it kind of go very fast. So I went to Christmas, but I knew I have a fight, and um, yeah, I knew the guy, I knew everything. So they were pretty fast. Normally, I'm always get last minute name, and they're like,
Yeah.
you should like they try to push it, or but it is what it is. So I was happy
Was
with
that
the
the
end of it.
Was that the first time you had a fight get pulled out from you so close to the fight?
No, JT Arnett was the worst. JT
Mm.
Arnett was 30 minutes before the fight.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's
so
nuts.
when I told you Andy it was not my first rodeo, I got some crazy night. Yeah, this one I think was one
When's
of the craziest. Yeah, sorry.
No, it's okay. When something like that happens, when you are getting ready for a fight, and all of a sudden, just without any fanfare, it's just over, it's done, and you haven't even fought yet. What's it like? How do you prepare yourself mentally to get ready for the next fight? Are you still thinking the same thing that, like, why should I bother putting on all this effort because we're just going to stop the fight before it even happens?
It's very hard. It's more the day of, you're so disappointed. You didn't like even your team, all the sacrifice you done, like they sacrifice
Mm-hmm.
time for you, and it's hard because you cannot kind of pay them back too. Your performance sometimes it's their gift for them. When you win those kind of fight, they're like, man, their win, their win too, and
Yeah.
yeah, but it is you have to roll with it. You kind of it kind of make me feel sometimes now more prepared for the next one. I kind of know we feel what karma, it is kind of destiny. So mm, I know when shit happen like that, I know the next fight is gonna be a very good one.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of roll
I've
with it.
said it
Yeah.
I've said it. I, I've said it over and over again that some people, especially just maybe just basic fans of MMA, look at the sport and they think that it's a solo or an individual sport where it's just the fighter going into the cage against their opponent. But it's more than that, and you just alluded to that a minute ago. Your teammates, you wouldn't be where you are now without trusted people on in your gym and your team who are with you every day. They're punching you, you're punching them, you're rolling, you're sweating, you're putting a lot of time and effort together. So I like the way you said that if you win a fight, it's also somewhat their victory. That's gotta be very special.
Yeah. But this is what I think that's why me, I have a big circle, like a friend, and that's why I was a lot of time when you selling tickets and things like that. It's a lot of friends and family, and they know they try to help you, even like diet or thing like that, even change your mind. In the weekend, you sometimes like see some friends. It's nice to just release the stress and things like that. And for them just to go and go see the fight, it's for them the way to support you.
Yeah, I totally got it. It's a lot more pressure though for you as a fighter too if you know that a big part of the audience are your supporters or your family and your friends.
Me, I kind of like it. Like because when like it give me another voice and just say don't go crazy, don't do stupid shit, and like a
Mm.
lot of people is watching you. Sometimes when you're too much in your zone and you have nobody to think about it, you're kind of doing some mistakes. When you hear people like like you see some friends, you're like, oh no, I don't want to lose in front of them and things like that. It kind of motivate you. For me, it motivate me to not do stupid shit.
That's good to know. Okay, so let's take a moment now and just move on to this upcoming weekend. Ethan Goss, your opponent, when when you were given his name as somebody you would be fighting next, what did you think about him?
I thought it was a good matchup for me. Like I don't know, he's gonna see this and everything, but like some of his train, it's good for me. And it's just style wise, I think it's gonna be very good for me. Kind of
Hmm.
similar
How
of
so?
what I see before.
Can you elaborate? What makes you think that he is a good opponent for your skill set?
Nice. I don't want to say too much.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah, you don't want to give away
We
your game
never know
plan.
if he's gonna watch this or not. But style, style make fights, and I think my style is a big problem for him.
You're a really well-rounded fighter, and I think one of the things you're really known for is your transitions between striking and grappling.
Yeah,
You're scrambling, you're really good, you're fast on your feet. And some people, I don't know much about Ethan Goss. I confess I haven't even really looked at who he is, but a lot of people have a really difficult time dealing with your maneuverability, I think, and I think maybe hopefully that's something that he'll have a challenge with as well.
Yeah, I think it's mixed with the pressure and explosivity. So it's kind of, you don't know where I'm going, and the mix with pressure with explosivity, it's kind of hard mix to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going.
Let's talk.
I'm really going. Yeah,
You are. You're go
yeah,
like the
I'm
Energizer
coming.
Bunny. Go, go, go.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your training camp for this. You train the majority of your training, if not all, was at H2O MMA with Coach Richard Ho. Was it the same for this camp, or did you do any traveling?
Most of it, yeah, with I did with Richard, but I did some a lot of boxing too with me and my two friends, Whitney and Dave. They're more boxer, but for me it was good to just get back to some other things and than just my usual.
Mm-hmm.
So they helped me a lot for this camp.
When you take a look at where you are now as a fighter, and by that I mean your overall skill set and mental preparation and just and physicality and your age and your maturity, everything, where do you think you are right now in comparison to where the 100% best Fred Dupras fighter you'll ever be in your life is? Like, are you close to that point, or do you still have a long way to go?
It's a good question because I feel like everything always give me it make me better every time. Every fight I get better. Even the shit show make me better because they make me handle things differently and make me think different. Make me more enjoying things sometimes. You know.
Well, that's good. I think if you're not enjoying this process, I know it's a job, and that's weird for people to think of. Like, say your friends are office workers, they work at Costco or they work at the post office or wherever, and they go to work Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. To them, that's what a job is. But this is your job, and if you hated it, it would really suck. And like, why would you do it? I mean, so
Yeah.
you've got to love it. So that's good.
But it's weird because it's not. I like the build up. I like to see myself getting better. Like me, I'm preparing myself every time. It's not a random thing. I'm preparing myself for one person only. So things. I'm not focusing on all my rounds with anybody. Like there are going to be certain rounds I'm going focusing, and I like to see the development of it. Like I see I'm getting better at this. I
Mm-hmm.
see like I like to go for this. And the fight, I don't really like it because it's stressful, but the after for me when you see all the sacrifice you did and it worked and they have no more they have no more best feeling than this for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Then winning is the best.
I have no doubt I'll never experience that in your capacity. It's pretty amazing to think that, you can one point in your life you're just this young gawky little boy kid, and then all of a sudden you're a grown man and you're walking out to crowds of people cheering your name and applauding and watching you perform. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it's super crazy. I don't even every time I'm making the walk, I'm like, all right, like I don't even understand why I do it, but it's after the fight, why you do it.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of mixed feelings. It's kind of it's come yeah, it is what it is.
Have you ever been a part of any conversations or been aware of the PFL if they've ever said anything about maybe holding shows in Canada someday?
Yeah, I did, but it was not for me. Like it was more at the time, like Olivier Aubin-Mercier was fighting for
Mm-hmm.
PFL. He
Yep.
tried to put PFL in Canada, in Montreal, because he was already champion and his name was pretty big. But the
Sure. He
thing
was a
here
two-time
was
champion. Yeah.
all the Reggie in Montreal.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was shit.
For
Yeah,
the listeners watching, listening who don't know what the Régie is, it's the Régie d'Alcool and whatever. I don't know what it is in French, but it's essentially the Mixed Martial Arts Commission in Quebec. And you know, I've never, I don't even know what to say. I gotta have to be careful what I say here, but I've been told that they can be quite challenging to deal with sometimes, and you have to
Yeah.
really be
But
careful what
when
you
I
say
say
and
shit,
careful what you do.
it's not like for, like you just, I think this is the reason I don't understand. I can sometimes it's crazy. You're like, it's small detail, and you're like, why you don't let those kind of thing go? It's just like they're rolling on old rules. They have a
Yeah,
paper, and if it don't follow the paper, they don't do nothing. But sometimes it's could be a different of a circle or an octagon.
yeah, I totally get it. I don't know if you know this, but I got in a little bit of trouble from the regie like
Um,
2 years ago, I think. It was one of the samurais I was attending. I don't know if you like when I travel around the country to Canada, I've been to fights in British Columbia, Alberta, Ontario, Montreal, Quebec, the Maritimes. I've been all around. And it's just one thing I do is after the fights, I go in the cage and I take pictures of the fighters and the teams and
yeah,
get your hands raised and all that stuff. So I never, when I was in Quebec for the first time, I never asked anybody. Just the fight was over. I walked up in the cage and I started taking pictures, and I did that for half the fight. Like I was there for like 5 or 6 fights, and then finally, this one guy in a blue coat, looked at me and says, "Who said you could be in here?" And I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "You're not allowed to be in here." I said, "Oh, I didn't know." So I thought they were going to kick me out of the venue, but no, they just looked at me like this,
yeah.
and then
But
I
they're
sat
very
outside the
strict.
cage.
It's not that they're not nice or thing like that. They're just very strict, and they follow rule by rules. They don't understand. They don't go with flow sometimes. They should more be loose. You know.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's important to have flexibility and being able to make new decisions, during the time of something happening. Like get together, get the top 2 or 3 guys together, or maybe one person in charge of the regie and say, hey, this guy wants to do this tonight. Can we do this? And then you have a discussion about it. Then you make a decision.
Yeah.
And I think most organizations have that ability, but I'm not quite so sure the regie is there yet. All right, Fred. This was a great talk, man. Is there anything that you think I should have asked you that we should talk about that I didn't ask you?
No, I think we good. Hope you go and see the fight.
Okay. I hope so. Yeah, I'm going to try to. It all depends on what my work schedule is like, but I try to see every single fight that I can. So anyway, man, thank you so much for the time to speak with us. I know it's always getting up to a fight. You're probably nervous and have a lot going on, so I appreciate your time and thanks for everything.
Thank you, Andy.
There you go, fight friends. Fred Dupras fighting in the PFL next weekend in Pittsburgh. Hey there, fight friends. We're joined today by the future Art of War featherweight champion, Ryan Yapsam. Ryan, how you doing, man?
I'm so good, man. How you doing?
Also so good. I love that. So good. It's not just boring. I'm okay. I like to hear that. So as I mentioned, you are fighting for the featherweight championship for an organization called the Art of War. This is their 46th event. It's held in King of Prussia, Pennsylvania on the 28th of March. And you're going to be fighting a guy named Matt Turnbull. Tell us how this fight originated. How did you get lined up for this?
I was originally offered their 35 champ, and when they contacted their champion, they came back to me and said, "Hey, our 35 champ isn't going to be ready till I think they said May." They said, "Do you want him in May?" And I said, "Absolutely, that'd be a great opportunity." I was like, "In the meantime, though, I'd like to stay busy. I know you guys are having your events in March. Is there any way you can keep me on the card?" They got back to me and said, "Are you willing to do 140 or 145?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm reluctant to do 145 or 140, but I'm definitely open to it." And they came back and said, "Well, our 45 champ is ready if you want him." And I said, "Absolutely, that sounds like a great opportunity." So I jumped all over it when they offered it to me.
Now that's quite a big leap. I mean, people might not realize going from 135 to 145 doesn't sound like a lot. It's only 10 pounds, but a lot of that's your weight class. You select that because your natural body type, because the way you normally carry weight. So, that could be a big difference on fight night.
It's a huge factor because I've grappled with guys who are 35ers and I've grappled with guys who are 45ers. And the lower the weight class, the bigger the difference is that 10 pounds would make. When you're heavyweight, 10 pounds doesn't make too much of a difference. But when you're already in the smaller weight classes, like myself, 10 pounds makes a difference. So I've grappled with guys who are 35ers and I've grappled with guys who are 45ers. And I can definitely tell that the 45ers have a different frame to them in their hips and their shoulders. So looking at my frame, I consider myself a huge bantamweight, but I think that's where I naturally fit is more so for my body type. I think I fit more so in the 35, but because I'm such a big 35er, it kind of makes sense for me to take this opportunity and move up to 45.
Tell us what training is like for you. When you started off as a mixed martial artist, everyone goes through their own journey. You probably started off with a couple classes a week. I'm just guessing here. I don't know, a couple classes a week, kickboxing or something. And then you made a decision to go all in. So you probably ramped it up a whole lot more. But now that you've got a little bit more experience under your belt, you kind of know, how you're going and how you're training. What's a typical training week look like to you?
Typical training week for me, I have two very good striking coaches. I have Andrew Cummings, and I have one of my main coaches. I call him Crew Fresh. They help me out once a week. I do a lot of pad work with them, and they just make sure that I'm on point as always. As far as the training goes, I like to set up my own training where I call out my training partners, and they come from sometimes from Toronto, sometimes from Barrie. I have guys who travel from all over to come out and train with me, so I'm really really grateful for that. So I set up my own training where I'll do a lot of grappling. Like I'll set up 6 5-minute rounds. That's what I like to do, and then I'll take a little break, and then after that I'll get some bag work in, or I'll get some working with my coach, or I'll get some sparring in. It really depends on the day, but typically on my harder training days, I'm in the gym from anywhere between about 10, 11 a.m. till about 3:30 in the afternoon.
Wow. What's your main base of operations? Do you have a main gym you train?
Yeah, the main gym that I train at is Ajax MMA. That's where I've been at for quite a long time now, but that's kind of where I do all my training now. That's where my two striking coaches are. And right now, I don't necessarily have a grappling coach, which I have grappling instructors that I visit from time to time. But
Mhm.
as far as like a grappling coach, I don't necessarily have one right now. So that part of my game, I would like to add a coach into that aspect at some point. So right now, I just have my own training partners that I've called out, and they come and see me throughout the week whenever they're able to, and we'll get some training in then. So my main gym is Ajax MMA.
Awesome. Now, just so we can clarify, when you say you call out your training partners, you mean you telephone them and say, "Hey guys, can you come train with me?" You're not like calling them out, like calling them out.
I'm not calling them out in any disrespectful way. No, I
Yeah.
message them directly. The way it comes up, it's weird. Sometimes it'll just be I'll randomly message people who I believe are like pretty high level, and that's how I've got some of my training partners. And through that, I've been able to network to other people. So I contact them directly and say, hey, I need a training partner. Can we meet at 11 a.m. on Saturday or something like that? And so sometimes it's weird. Like there's some weekends. That's usually when I set up most of my training. There's some weekends where I have like an abundance of training partners where I have so many people to choose from, and I'm like,
Mhm.
okay, this is fantastic. And then there's other weekends where there's like nobody available for whatever reason. Maybe they're competing soon, just life, they're not able to come out.
Mhm.
They're out late last night, whatever the case is. So I'm not always to get training partners. So sometimes I'm like scrambling to find people, but then more often than not, I have somebody there who's willing to train with me, so it kind of works out.
Yeah. I'm gonna take a couple steps back and go back to the Art of War organization. Oftentimes, when I see a Canadian fighting in an American promotion, it's typically as part of a bigger contingent of Canadians, like maybe 3 or 4 or 5 teammates from one gym go down for an event. So it's not that normal that just like a solo guy like you is going down. How did you get associated with these people? How did you get in contact with them originally?
I was wondering the same thing. I was looking at the situation. I'm like, I'm the only Canadian going down. They contacted me directly, offering me these fights. They offered me 2 title fights. They don't even know who I am. So
Mhm.
from my end, I'm looking at them from a promotional perspective. I actually feel pretty honored because I imagine they must have somehow found my footage and saw my I guess my footage in the cage and said, hey, you know what? This guy's gonna put on a good show and he's gonna put on a good fight. Let's give him the opportunity because I'm only 3-2, which is not a great record, and I've never actually competed as a professional at featherweight. So here I am, 3-2 record, which is not a great record, and then moving up to featherweight to challenge to their champion. For me, I'm like I almost feel like I definitely skipped the line, and I almost feel like I don't deserve the title shot, but I also feel
Mhm.
like I deserve it at the same time because I know what I'm capable of, and I know that I'm going to put on a good show no matter what. So for me, I'm like, this is fantastic. This is great. I feel like this is what happens when you stay ready like I do and you're always in shape and you're always training. Like these kind of opportunities just kind of fall in your lap, and that's what kind of
Mhm.
happened here. This opportunity just kind of came to me. You know, I was looking to compete here in Ontario. That's where I always look. That's what I always look to do. But the opportunity wasn't going to come up, and I had missed so much time last year for trying to compete in just in Ontario. So now I was like, well, I need to start exploring other options. And I didn't even know who these people were. They contacted me and offered me 2 title fights. I was like, wow, and I'm the only Canadian going, so they're either thinking, hey, this is someone who we're gonna feed to our champion, who our champion can beat, or they're looking at me like, hey, let's see how he does. Either way, no matter how he looks at it, it's a great opportunity for me, and I'm excited to go out there and showcase what I'm able to do. So it's a great situation for me. I'm loving it.
I say this a lot, that when you look at a fighter's record, it can tell you a lot about that fighter, but it doesn't tell you everything. So I know that I've seen you fight a handful of times, including one of your losses, and it wasn't a blowout by any means. You still performed really well. So a 3-2 record, on the one hand, it shows it's about a 50-50 record, but on the other hand, you can't look at a record and just understand that a guy is super skilled like you are. Like, you are an excellent fighter, man. Like, I'll never forget the first time I ever saw you fight was a Durham Fight Series. It was your first fight, and what really separated from you from everyone else in my mind was just initially was the amount of time you took preparing and visualizing in the cage beforehand. You were in there for a long time. I don't know if you remember, but I was caged. I was watching you, and I got some video footage. You were just like inspecting the cage and like sitting there and just focusing on whatever it was you were focusing on, the fight or what you were going to do. And that kind of attention to details it's pretty extraordinary. And if that's what you need to do, that's fantastic. So, I think on the one hand, the Art of War, they see a 3-2 record and think, here's a guy with a 3-2 record. Our guy should beat him easily. But I know for a fact nobody's going to beat you easily.
I don't think so either. I think I'm a tough matchup for everybody. So me going into this fight, like I said, I don't know how they're looking at it. They could be looking at it like this is just someone we're going to feed to our champion, or they're looking at it like this is going to be a great fight. Either way, I'm not too concerned about that. I know what I'm capable of. I'm more concerned with how I view myself than how others people view me. And like I said, at the end of the day, I know what I'm capable of, and I know I have a lot of skills to bring to the table. So it's a great opportunity for me to showcase my skills. I'm moving up a weight class. I'm fighting a guy who's, I think he's like 9-7 or something. So a guy who's more experienced, higher weight class. He's the champion. This is a great opportunity for me to go out there, put on a stellar performance, and show everybody what I'm capable of. So this is great.
That guy is named Matt Turnbull. What do you know about him? Were you able to find any tape on him?
Yeah, I just watched some of his footage. He seems like a very good fighter, honestly. All around, he seems fine. His fundamentals on the feet seem pretty good. Like, nothing too crazy. His ground game looked pretty legit. He likes to transition quite a bit. He transitions very well on the ground. His wrestling didn't look too bad either. He just doesn't look amazing anywhere, so to speak. Like, he's definitely good all around. A very worthy opponent. He definitely deserves to be the champion. I just don't see anything that's going to be too overwhelming for me. So I'm excited for this matchup.
I'm excited for it too. It's a championship. It's out of country. You get to travel internationally and do it. Just make sure you don't make the mistake a lot of guys do and don't get a visa. Make sure you get a visa well in advance.
Yeah, I guess I gotta get on top of that. I don't even know where to even begin to do that, but I guess yeah, I have to get on top of that.
Yeah, I know of at least 2 occasions in the past little while. One just two or 3 months ago, where the fighter shows up at the border to go down. The border guard says, "Hey, why are you going there?" "Oh, I'm going to fight." And they say, "Where's your visa?" "No, I don't have a visa." "Well, you're not going to fight." So yeah, just one of those small things that it's easy to forget.
Yeah, that's interesting. It's good to know. I'm glad you noted that.
All right, Ryan, that was a great talk, man. I'm rooting for you as always. I've always valued you as a fighter. I think you know that. And I'm wondering, before we go, is there anything that you wish I would have asked you or want to talk about that I didn't bring up?
No, honestly, it's good to catch up as always. As I'm going on in this fight career, I'm learning a lot about myself and just finding out the best way to conduct myself when I do interviews like this or if I'm preparing for a fight. I feel like when I was just starting my career, I had a big ego and I let just a couple wins get to my head. And just the way I was conducting myself, I'm almost like shaking my head, cringing at it, like, wow, I can't believe I conducted myself that way. So now I'm in a position where I just want to be a lot more humble as I go forward, while still maintaining the high confidence that I have. And to find that balance between being confident and also humble at the same time, it could be tough. But I think I'm finding a good balance where I'm conducting myself in a way that I'm going to be happy with later, win or lose, because I know anything can happen in there. But I also, right now, my confidence is sky high, and I'm really excited to get in there and just do what I do and express myself in the way that I know that I can. And it should be a good show for everybody.
I hope it will be. I'm not sure. I haven't looked into it yet if I'll be able to watch a stream of any type, but I hope I can watch you fight. So all I can say is, Ryan, best of luck, kick some butt, and hopefully when you see you next time, you'll be the Art of War champion.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me, Andy. I appreciate it.
Anytime, Ryan. All right, there you go, fight friends. Ryan Yapsam is fighting on the 20th of March at Art of War 46 in King of Prussia, Pennsylvania. Hey there, fight friends. We are joined today by Saeed Abi-Issa, who is a Canadian amateur mixed martial artist with 9 fights under his belt. But big news, he is currently in Arlington, Texas, or Texas anyway, where he's getting set for his pro debut, and that is on the 27th of March against Islam Abazilev at XKO 72 in Arlington, Texas. Saeed, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate being on here.
I'm super excited. I love talking to amateur fighters. I like talking to fighters in general, but amateur fighters for sure, because 100% at this point, you just do this because you love it, don't you?
Yeah, it's a passion of mine. I'll never change it for anything.
So for many of the people watching, they've probably never seen you fight before. They've never maybe heard you before, even though you're quite prolific, but that's just the way amateur goes. Just take a moment, please introduce yourself, talk about your background, where you're from, how you got introduced to combat sports or MMA, and how you got into training.
So my name's Saeed Abi-Issa. I'm 21 years old. I've been in martial arts since the age of 4 years old, and so it's kind of been a part of me. That's the jets outside. Sorry about that.
No, it's okay. So for everyone watching, Saeed's currently in Texas, right? So the dog's barking. That's not his house. It's in the
No, I
airport.
promise it's not mine. But yeah, no. So I've been in martial arts since I was about 4 years old. I started off with Hapkido, so that's traditional martial arts. That's with the gi, learning self-defense, jiu-jitsu, it's kind of mix of everything. And my parents threw me in when I was younger, and obviously when I was a kid, I cried lots. I didn't want to do it, and I kind of just once I hit about 13, 14 years old, I found a love for it and I started to take it on my own. I got my black belt in Hapkido at 13 years old. And then after I got my black belt, I transitioned over to jiu-jitsu and did jiu-jitsu for a while. Still doing it from now, but I started from Hapkido, then went to jiu-jitsu, competed lots in jiu-jitsu. And then once I got about 16 years old, I transitioned over to Muay Thai. So I worked lots with Abdul Haddad. That's even till today when I go back to Calgary, Alberta, Abdul Haddad's like my guy. For striking, he's my stand-up guy, 100%. He's been by my side from day one. So a big shout out to him too, because he's stuck by me through everything, right? Did Muay Thai, competed lots in Muay Thai. I came number 1 in Canada. I was on Team Canada, competed in Worlds, and I came number 2 in Worlds for Muay Thai at 17 years old.
Wow.
I lost to England in the finals. So that was that. And then I had an exhibition MMA fight when I was 17 in Grand Prairie, Canada. I won that first round submission. And then after that, I hit 18 on my 18th birthday. I made my MMA debut. And now I'm here, 7 wins, 2 losses, and I'm making my pro debut in a couple weeks.
That's absolutely incredible. When I hear people like you tell your stories about starting so young, like, dude, I did judo when I was a kid. I did judo when I was a kid. I did kickboxing in my teenage years. I didn't start Japanese jiu-jitsu till I was 30. I didn't start Brazilian jiu-jitsu and Muay Thai till I was 40. So like I hear your stories and I just go, wow, I wish I could go back in time and just start all over again and know what I know now.
Yeah, no, for sure. I'm very thankful for my parents who keep pushing me when I was younger, because if they didn't push me, I wouldn't be where I'm at right now. So big shout out to them too, because they're main reason why I am where I am.
You have shown, like you mentioned, great success, 7-2 record as an amateur against some really tough opponents, really good opponents. Why pro? Why go professional now?
So after my BFL fight against Bernie Liu, I got a 15-second knockout there. I won the BFL championship title.
Yeah, I was there for that. Yeah.
Yeah. So after that fight, I've always had problems getting fights in Canada. After my first fight I ever had sanctioned was a first round knockout, minute and 30 seconds, knocked the guy out. And then I went a year and 2 months without a fight. Nobody would want to fight me at 18 years old. So I ended up taking a 2-week notice fight, the next one, and then my third fight, I took that fight on like a day notice. I went up 2 weight
Wow.
classes. I fought at 170, and I weighed in with a bunch of stuff in my pockets just to make sure the commission was okay with it. So in Canada, majority of my fights were last minute fights, just because that's the only way I was able to fight. And then I was lucky enough to connect with my team now, De La Rosa MMA, Mark De La Rosa, Montana De La Rosa, down in Texas, and now they're my official team. And ever since the BFL fight, all my fights have been in the States. So after fighting so much, I got 3 championship belts in 3 different promotions, and it only makes sense. There's nobody else that wanted to fight me as an amateur. And even going pro, leading up to March 27th, I had 5-6 offers, and they all turned me down. Pro fighters
Wow.
that's already have been pro, older guys. I've already had guys turning me down as a pro. So it's a it's a good thing, because I know that I have the skills that it takes, but it also sucks to struggling to get fights. But after I get this fight in, I don't think I'll have problems getting fights, because I'll be able to fight higher record guys and stuff. So
Yeah. And there's always going to be somebody out there who's going to look at you and your record and think, man, I want to be the guy to take this kid out.
exactly.
Saeed, how old are you right now? 22?
21. I just turned 21 in
21.
February.
Oh, sorry. Okay, awesome. Yeah, I'm glad you brought it up. First of all, I'd like to compliment you on just your speaking. Sometimes when I speak with people, I like say, "What's your favorite color?" and they go blue. And I can have another person say, "What's your favorite color?" and they talk to me for 25 minutes about the color red. So it's good. I can ask you a question. You just go with it.
Thank you.
So I'm going to take a look at your record for a second, because I was going to bring this up. Yeah, your last fight, geez, that was also in Texas. And before
Yeah.
that, it was at Peak Fighting, then XKO Fight Night, then Peak Fighting again. So a lot of American fights. So is that Mark De La Rosa? Is he your main coach now? And is he also sort of your manager and sort of who guides you on where and how to get fights?
Yes, so that's exactly it. So when I come down from Canada to America, I usually come down to America for fight camps, right? Because obviously it's costing lots, so I can't be living here. So I usually come out anywhere from 4 to 8 to 12 weeks for fight camps. I've been here since January for this March fight, and I stay with my coach, Mark and Montana De La Rosa. I stay at their place, and they just take me in and treat me very well. But yeah, Coach Mark's my main coach. He's my manager as well. He books my fights, and like him and his wife they've both been to the UFC, the biggest show in the world, right? So my trust is fully with them, and I just all the way to the end kind of thing.
How did you first get introduced to them?
So it was through one of my teammates, Nico. Nico and Mark have known each other for many, many years. Funny actually, because he knew me when I was about 15, and would always tell me, come down to Texas, come down to Texas. And I never took him up on that offer until I was 19. I was 19 years old, probably 2 years ago. I took Nico up on the offer, and I came down for a couple weeks, met the family, met the team, and then ever since that meetup into that 2-week meetup, I just continued coming back, talked to Coach Mark, ended up saying, "Hey man, like I want you guys to be my team, my coach," and he took me under his wing and took me under the team kind of thing.
In order for him to do something like that, I haven't spoken with you about this before, nor have I spoken with him, but I can only imagine that bringing somebody into your home is a big decision, right? Because you never know, so many crazy people out there in this world, even people that seem kind of normal. So I can just imagine you must have been very respectful, and he must have seen something in you that he knew he could trust you to live with his family.
Yeah, that was a big thing that he had to do. Obviously, was that first 2 weeks, I guess, was him just seeing who I was. And Mark obviously knew who I was before I knew who he was, because just Nico was always talking about me to Coach Mark. And like you said, I'm a very respectful person. My parents raised me the right way, so I know how to read a room. I'm very respectful to family. It's not my house, so I always gotta pick up after myself and carry my own weight and stuff. So Mark ended up seeing something in me, and he's always told me that he's willing to invest in me and take that chance, because he sees success in my future, hopefully one day. So he's taking investment in with me, and like I'm very thankful for him and the family always housing me, having me down here. Like I would never not be thankful for it.
Do you still live in Calgary when you're in Canada?
Yes.
And talk about your training in Canada.
Yeah, so when I'm back in Calgary, I bounce around with a few other gyms just to get different bodies and different looks. I bounce between elite martial arts, that's with Francois, and Abdu, that's where Abdul Haddad is. I bounce there, and then I go Alavanca for my MMA.
Mm-hmm. With Tim
And
Blanchard?
then, say again?
With Tim Blanchard?
Yeah, exactly. With Tim, Kurt, all those people over there for my MMA. And then I also do 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu just so I get a bit of everything. So I got my Muay Thai striking, I've got my pure Jiu-Jitsu, and then I kind of blend everything in with my MMA while I'm down there. And then I'm also working with my strength and conditioning guy, Dan Bolsum. He's in Calgary too. So when I'm down there, I'm with him. And then when I'm out here, he just gives me a workout routine, and then I just follow it.
Well, man, it sounds like you've got it all figured out. You've got a well-oiled machine running for you, so I'm happy for you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Let's talk about now what's next. I don't want to have you look past this fight, and we'll talk about this particular fight in a moment. But I'm just wondering about your future career. Obviously, you have a goal in mind. You've done well with amateur. You're moving to professional. Have you given extreme thought into how you'd like it to go, like fight by fight, or every 5 fights? Any milestones you want to achieve, or are you just taking it one fight at a time?
So after this fight, we have Fury FC. I'm not sure if you've heard of them or not. They're on UFC Fight Pass.
I have.
Yeah, so after this fight, I'll be signing with them a 3 or 4 fight deal. And hopefully I'll be fighting with them again in May after this fight. But my end goal, obviously, is the UFC, is the big shows. I want to be a world champion one day. And Coach Mark wants to create world champions in his gym all around. So for me, I've told you this too, by end of 2027, I want to be in the UFC. Doesn't matter how it is, Ultimate Fighter, Contender Series, last minute calls. I don't see myself, I see myself rising quick. If I stay active, I stay busy, I don't think I need long until I start getting eyes on me. Because all my fights are exciting. Nobody wants to miss my fights. And I'm always putting on a show, whether it's on the ground or on the feet. I'm always down to bang. I want to create damage. I want to draw blood. I just want to hurt the guy across from me. Obviously, I want to win, but I want to walk out that cage knowing that I hurt them and they're going to feel it the next day or the next week.
Yeah. Before I tell you my opinion, just what do you think the UFC looks for when they look for potential signees to join their organization?
UFC right now is looking for knockout artists, people who's willing to bang. Obviously, grappling's part of MMA, but if you're going to grapple, you got to do damage while you're on the floor, right? So UFC is looking for guys who are going to put on a show, guys who are fan favorites. Obviously, social media is a big side of it as well, but if you're willing to do damage and you're able to knock a guy out, or you're able to take a punch to give a punch and draw blood, UFC is definitely going to want you for sure.
Yeah, I know for Contender Series, for sure, UFC President Dana White, he doesn't like people that don't go for it. He likes people that have grit, that have tenacity. They try to finish fights, and they do finish fights. And even if they don't finish fights, they're going for it the whole time. Because we've seen sometimes where guys can win a fight, but it's kind of lackluster, or, they were just running out the clock, and Dana says, no, maybe next time.
Yeah, exactly. So for me, that's my style. If I got a guy in front of me who wants to stand and bang, I will stand and bang all day. I don't mind it. I will take a hit to give a hit, and I'll take your hardest punch and keep walking forward, kind of thing. So I'm excited to see what the future holds for me, but it'll be good. It'll be a good run.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited to follow you, Saeed. I was really impressed by you when I saw you live. Before we get going, is there anything you think I should have asked you that I didn't ask?
Honestly, no, you've hit all the questions.
Every single one. What's your favorite color?
I'd go with red for sure. Red. I don't know. It's just been a color that goes good on me, and just growing up, red's always been something I've always loved.
All right. Good choice. All right. Thanks, man. There you go. All right, fight friend, Saeed Abi-Issa, amateur fighter from Canada, making his pro debut in Texas at the end of this month. Wish him luck. Hey there, fight friends. We are joined today by the very patient Scout Meyer, an amateur mixed martial artist out of Ontario with a record of 6-1. He is heading down to the Dominican Republic on March the 28th to fight a man named Josue Ventura for the Dominican Fight Club Lightweight Championship. Scout, Thank you for speaking with us.
Thank you. So happy to be here.
Fight friends, just to let you know that Scout is a very patient young man. I mentioned that already. I've had a whole bunch of technical issues this morning and a time zone mix up. So, the fact that he's still here, I owe him something in the future, a beverage or something, or a pat in the back. I don't know, whatever. I'll get you something. Scout, okay, awesome. So, for the fans who don't know who you are, you're an amateur fighter. You've had a really good career so far at 6-1, like I said. I've had the pleasure of watching you fight in person at least twice, maybe 3 times, and overall very impressed with your well-rounded skill set. Like I've been doing this for a long time, and it used to be when you watched amateur fighters fight, you could automatically know that dude's an amateur. He still has a lot to learn. When I watch you fight, you could be a pro now, I think. So just talk about your training, how you got to where you are now, how you first discovered mixed martial arts, what your training started like, and where it is now.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Amateurs are getting like a lot better, and I think the pros are getting better, so the amateurs have to get better. It's just the way it's gonna be. If you As the sport continues, guys are gonna get so much better. But yeah, I started not too long ago. I first heard about MMA through watching a Conor McGregor Instagram video, and I was like, this looks awesome. So I went to my local gym. I said I wanted to do MMA, wanted to be champion of the world, and they were like, wow, slow down. Maybe we'll get you a kickboxing match. So started with kickboxing. I did that for I think like a year and a half before I transitioned to MMA. And had my first fight, did really well, and then had my second fight, and I lost that fight to Dima, and that's where I met Thick Boy. So I've now moved to the city, and I'm training with them, getting better every day.
Yeah, Dimitro's that, you don't need to be upset about losing to him. He's an excellent fighter. And he, like you said, he introduced you to Thick Boy. Talk about Thick Boy Fight Club and the Thick Boy gang and what it's like being a part of that team, because you guys are very cohesive.
Yeah, it's great. I love the team. Everyone on the team's great. We're all, always letting each other know what we can do to improve. Helping guys where they struggle and encouraging guys where they're already really good. Some guys are better at grappling or striking, and together as a team, we can make some pretty well-rounded fighters.
Tell us your impressions about Tyson and Boyan as coaches.
Yeah, great coaches. Grappling heavy guys, great top pressure. If you roll with either of them, you can, there's a lot of experience. Everything they do is to set you up. Yeah, great coaches. I've learned so much, and I've only been at Thick Boy for um, just about a year now, and I've learned so much.
Yeah, it's important to have a team that you mesh with. Like sometimes I get people, like friends or family, they ask me for recommendations about what gym to try. And even though me personally, I might have a strong impression and a not so strong impression of certain gyms, I still tell them, try 2 or 3, whatever's around you, because your fit might not be the same as my fit. So it's important to find what you'd like. And I'm happy that you did that.
Yeah, for sure. Thick Boy, we kind of have a boxing wrestling heavy base. I really like Ilya Taporia. Tyson, my coach, really likes Ilya Taporia. I'm trying to if I'm trying to style after him, and my coach also agrees that that's a good style. It's just a good fit, keeping the level low, jabbing, having a good wrestling base. It's just Thick Boy is the fight system that I like.
Fantastic. Let's move on now to this fight in the Dominican. You're fighting that Josue Ventura. Were you able to find any tape on him?
A little bit. I went through his Instagram. There's some pictures, some clips. Looks like he's got a fast finish, and then some other longer fights ended with a rear naked, I think. Yeah, I haven't seen any like full fights, but I've seen some clips. So I have an idea what to expect. I think he's 5'10", so a little bit taller than me, but yeah, but the same.
Yeah, at a certain level, you can only prepare so much for your opponent, but the main focus should be on preparing yourself and just what you can control. And I think that's probably what you're doing.
Yeah, I'm not, like I have in the past definitely worked on things that I thought would be good for specific opponents a little bit, but mostly right now for like in the amateur stage, I'm really just training to like make myself a better fighter.
Hmm.
I'm not focusing too much on the opponents.
Let's talk about you becoming a better fighter. As you're continuing to train, you're clearly going to get better. Talk about your training life. What's a week look like in the life of Scout Meyer?
Yep. Um, training pretty much every day where we go striking and then grappling, striking, grappling. So Mondays like boxing, Tuesdays wrestling, Wednesdays back to striking, like kind of like Dutch drills with kicking, switch kicks and stuff. Thursdays back to wrestling, and then Friday we do a sparring day. And then Saturday and Sunday we also train in the mornings. So we do a MMA grappling rounds. So basically grappling with MMA gloves, you can like simulate punches and ground and pound. And then Sunday is probably my favorite day. We do boxing with 16-ounce gloves, but you can shoot takedowns. So
Mm.
it's great to work on like, feinting an overhand and you can grab a single or, something like that.
Geez, that's a busy week. Is there any aspect of fighting that you gravitate towards the most, that you enjoy doing the most? You said just the Sundays, but any like
Yeah.
aspect?
Yeah, like I, I love boxing. I love feeling, something just go by and miss and then counter. Uh I think it's to me I think nothing beats a clean knockout.
Mm.
You lead hand, power hand, doesn't matter. Yeah, boxing is probably my favorite. But then again, there's a wrestling like when you wrestle someone and you out cardio them and just they're dead and you still have energy. That's also a
Mhm.
really good feeling.
Yeah. I had a talk with somebody else yesterday, the day before, and I don't remember who, but I talked about how like people who don't train, who don't fight, will never truly comprehend the absolute suckiness of when you gas out, either in training or in a fight, right? There's nothing in the world worse. So to know that you've got that cardio in your bank is got to be a great feeling.
Yeah, for sure. I think cardio is one of the biggest things. Like even if you know like two or three basic moves, right? If you don't gas out and the other guy knows everything but he gasses out, it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
So
that's right.
yeah, you have to be in great shape always.
This fight in the Dominican will be the eighth of your amateur career. How much longer is this going to go? Are you considering going professional at some point?
Yeah, so my coach wants me to get 10 amateur wins. So we've got this one coming up. There's a card for Unified. It's a Pro Am card. Looking like we're going to get that fight. We'll see. We got an opponent, but we just got to see if he accepts.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe the tournament in the fall that I don't know, Scott Heathcote, my teammate, he
That's
just
right.
went pro. He did that
World
tournament
champion.
and he actually won. He's world champion, yeah.
Yep.
So I'm looking to do the same.
Who are some of your main training partners at Thick Boy?
Yeah, right now, well, Scott's in Brazil, so he's not there. But when he is, he's great. Right now, I train a lot with Donovan, Artaj, Dima, Little Dima. Yeah, there's so many. Phil, a great wrestler we have. Max, he's really good boxer. Yeah, different guys are great for different things.
Yeah, of course. And you have a brother that fights too, don't you?
Yes, yep. My little brother's great. He's a really good grappler. He learns quick, faster than me.
And what's his name? I'm sorry.
North.
North.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
knew that at some point. Okay, Scout.
He's looking to get another fight soon too.
That's good, and it's important to sort of to pace yourself appropriately. And by pace yourself, I don't mean go really slow. I just mean make sure that you have the appropriate amount of time between fights, and give yourself time to rest and grow as a fighter. Because
Mhm.
if you go in there and fight every week, sure, you can get the experience, but you're not really improving as a fighter in that week.
Yeah, I'm trying to fight as much as I can, but still always win. You know, I'm not
Yeah.
I'm not trading losses for just experience. I'm trying to win every time, be prepared every time.
Okay, Scout, I thought this was a great conversation, but before we go, I'm wondering, is there anything that you think we should have talked about that I didn't ask?
I guess just my support from home, like my parents, all my siblings come from a big family. Everyone supports me. Friends and family. It's really great to have everyone's support. It without that, it would be a lot more difficult.
100%. That's one thing I actually could have asked that, so I'm glad you mentioned it. Whenever I've seen you fight in person, I distinctly remember the huge support system you had there. Your dad's there, very loud and proud, right in front, a whole bunch of people. And in fact, at the last Thick Boy, number 9, when I go in the cage at the end of every fight to take a picture of the winner and their fight teams, most of the time it's the fighter and maybe 2 or 3 cornerman coaches. With you in the main event, yet you won the main event, like you came in and then they didn't stop. They just kept piling in. It took like a good 5 or 6 minutes to crawl them all. There must have been 40 people in there with you.
Yeah, that's the advantage to winning the main event. There's nothing after, so everyone can come in the cage and get a photo. It's great. It feels good to make the team proud too. When you're the main event, there's a little bit more pressure to win because the whole team's waiting for that fight that night. So to win, it's like I'm winning, but also the team's winning. So
yeah,
good feeling.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, Scout, once again, this was fantastic. Thanks again for speaking with us. And fight friends, there you go. Scout Meyer, currently 6-1, hopefully 7-1 as an amateur very shortly, fighting for the lightweight championship at Dominican Fight Club in Dominican Republic. Thanks, Scout.